The air in Nice was warm and heavy with the fragrance of salt water drifting in from the Mediterranean, a place that had become a quiet refuge for those who needed to disappear from the chaos of Genoa City. For Kyle Abbott, it had been a place of silence, a place to breathe without every memory of betrayal, heartbreak, and broken promises chasing him down every street. He had convinced himself that coming to France would help him heal, that it would give him the chance to put some distance between himself and the life he no longer recognized back home. What he hadn't expected was how hollow it would feel to live without the only thing that had ever truly made him believe in love, his daughter. The ache of not knowing where she was, how she was doing, or even if she still thought about him at night, never left his chest. Every sunrise reminded him of what he'd lost, and every sunset mocked him with the quiet that had replaced laughter. Kyle lived in a fog, convincing himself that time would dull the sharp edges of the truth, but deep down, he knew there was no escape from that kind of pain. It was late afternoon when Kyle, distracted by the sight of sailboats in the harbor, felt his world tilt in a way he hadn't prepared for. Across the street, stepping out of a sleek black car, was a figure he had dreamed of and dreaded in equal measure. Summer Newman. The woman who had been his everything, the woman who had broken his heart, and the woman who carried secrets like they were armor. She looked different now, tired, sharper somehow, with eyes that had seen too much, but there was still that familiar flicker, the one that told him she hadn't stopped carrying the same weight he did. He wanted to look away, to pretend this was just another hallucination his loneliness had conjured up, but he couldn't. And then he saw it. The small figure stepping timidly out of the car behind her, clutching a stuffed bunny and blinking into the light of the French Riviera. His breath caught in his throat, his entire body froze, and the world stopped spinning. Because it wasn't just summer. It wasn't just memories. It was her. Their daughter. Kyle stumbled forward before he could think, the sound of his voice cracking as it escaped him, raw and unrestrained. "This is my daughter." The words weren't rehearsed, they weren't planned. They were ripped from a place so deep inside of him that even he didn't know they existed until that moment. Summer's head snapped toward him, her lips parting in shock, but it was the little girl's wide eyes that undid him. She was older now, her hair falling in golden waves, her face carrying traces of both him and Summer so perfectly that it was undeniable. There she was, his flesh, his blood, his heart, standing only feet away after what felt like a lifetime of emptiness. His hands shook as he reached out, as if afraid that if he blinked she would vanish, and the silence between them was deafening. It wasn't Nice anymore. It wasn't France. It wasn't even about Summer and all the mistakes they had made. It was about that child, and the truth that no distance, no lies, no broken promises could erase the fact that she was his. Summer's voice finally broke the silence, thick with both guilt and defiance. "Kyle. I didn't know how else to do this. I didn't know if you were ready, or if you even wanted to see her again. But I couldn't keep her from you anymore." She took a hesitant step forward, the little girl's hand tucked firmly in hers, and Kyle felt every nerve in his body scream at him to run to them, to pull them both into his arms and never let go. But his legs were heavy, as though weighed down by the years of betrayal and unanswered questions that had lived between them. He wanted to scream, to demand answers, to rage at the fact that she had kept his daughter from him for so long, but the sight of the child's uncertain eyes silenced all of that. How could he bring anger into this moment, when all she needed was to know she was loved, that her father was standing right in front of her? His anger would have to wait. His questions would have to burn quietly for now. The little girl clutched the bunny tighter, her voice soft, barely above a whisper. "Mommy, is that?" She didn't finish her sentence, but Kyle heard it anyway. It was the question that had haunted him, the question that now hung in the air like smoke. Summer knelt down beside her, smoothing her hair back gently, her voice trembling as she answered. "Yes, sweetheart. That's your daddy." The words detonated in Kyle's chest, a combination of joy and devastation so overwhelming that he nearly lost his balance. Daddy. He had thought he would never hear it again, never get to live that role, never get to see his child look at him with recognition. And now, here she was, staring at him with a mix of fear and wonder, as though she wasn't sure if she was allowed to believe it. Kyle dropped to his knees, his tears falling freely now, his voice shaking as he tried to bridge the distance. "Hi, sweetheart, it's me. I'm here. I've always been here." For a moment, nothing else mattered. Not Genoa City. Not the betrayals. Not even Summer. It was just father and daughter, the invisible thread between them humming with a strength that time and distance could never break. And as the little girl finally let go of Summer's hand and took a tentative step toward him, Kyle knew that his world had shifted forever. This wasn't just a reunion. This wasn't just a moment. This was a beginning. One that would tear open old wounds, ignite new battles, and demand truths that had been buried for far too long. But in that instant, with his daughter reaching for him, Kyle didn't care about any of it. He had her back. And nothing, not even the storm that was surely coming, could take that away from him now. Kane extended a hand, his grip firm when Billy took it. "No traps, mate. Just war." Meanwhile, at the Abbott mansion, the air was thick with the scent of fresh coffee and unspoken tensions. Jack Abbott sat at the breakfast nook, his newspaper folded neatly beside a half-eaten croissant. At 70, Jack was the elder statesman of Genoa City's drama, a man whose handsome features bore the scars of too many heartbreaks, yet whose spirit remained unyieldingly optimistic. Today, that optimism warred with worry as he glanced at his watch. Nikki was due any minute, and the words he needed to say churned like acid in his gut. The doorbell chimed, a melodic intrusion. Phyllis Summers, his on-again, off-again flame, breezed in from the hallway, her red hair a fiery halo. "Expecting someone? Or just me making house calls?" Jack managed a smile, standing to kiss her cheek. "Nikki. It's important." Phyllis's eyes narrowed, that trademark intuition flaring. "Trouble in paradise? Or should I say, ex-paradise?" Before he could answer, the door opened again, and there she was, Nikki Newman, elegant in a cream blouse and pearls, her blonde waves framing a face that could still launch 1,000 boardroom coups. At 68, Nikki was a survivor, through cancer, alcoholism, and Victor's endless tempests. But lately, the shadows under her eyes spoke of fresh battles. "Jack," she said warmly, embracing him. Her gaze flicked to Phyllis, a flicker of old rivalry. "Phyllis. Always a pleasure." Phyllis excused herself with a wink, "I'll be in the den if you need a referee," leaving them alone. Jack guided Nikki to the table, pouring her coffee with steady hands. "Nikki, thanks for coming. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't urgent." She sipped, her blue eyes searching his. "You've got that look, Jack. The one that says Genoa City's about to implode. What's Victor done now?" Jack sat across from her, leaning forward. "It's not just what he's done, it's what he's about to do. And it involves all of us. Me, Billy, even Kane. Victor's gone full supervillain, Nikki. He's got his hands on some AI program, black market stuff, from what I hear. It's designed to dismantle companies from the inside. Leaks, hacks, market manipulations. He's targeting Chancellor first, but Jabot's next." Nikki's cup paused midair, her composure cracking just a fraction. "AI? Victor's always been ahead of the curve, but this, criminal? Worse than that. He's recruited Michael as a double agent. My sources say he's plotting a triple threat, hit Billy where it hurts, his ego and his CEO dreams. Kane's scheming too, pulling strings with that software of his own. And me? After what happened at the clinic, he sees me as the ultimate betrayer." Nikki set her cup down, her hand trembling slightly. Memories flooded back, the dim lights of the rehab center, Jack's voice steady as he coaxed her through the delirium tremens, his own sobriety hanging by a thread. Victor had found out, exploded in rage, vowing the Abbotts' downfall. "Jack, you saved me. Risked everything. If Victor's coming for you because of that." "He's coming for all of us," Jack interrupted gently. "Kane's using Billy as a pawn, promising him the world with counter-AI tech, but demanding he reconcile with Jill first. It's a powder keg." Billy's furious, drinking again, ready to lash out. And Victor? He's multitasking like it's a game of chess. One wrong move, and it all blows up. Nikki rose, pacing to the window overlooking the manicured gardens. The roses bloomed defiantly, a stark contrast to the thorns in her life. "I can't just stand by. Victor's my husband, Jack. Flawed, furious, but mine. What do you expect me to do? Storm the ranch and demand he stop?" Jack stood, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Talk to him. Not as the wife placating the king, but as the woman who knows his heart. Remind him that revenge doesn't fill the voids, it digs them deeper. And Nikki, watch your back. If he finds out I warned you." She turned, her eyes fierce. "He won't hear it from me. But Jack, thank you. For always seeing the storm before it hits." As she left, Jack sank back into his chair, the weight of unspoken fears pressing down. Genoa City was a tinderbox, and today, September 17th, 2025, the match was lit. Back at Chancellor Winters, the tension in Billy's office had thickened into something tangible, like fog rolling off the lake. Kane had pulled up a chair, his tablet now connected to the desk's monitor, the AI interface blooming to life in holographic splendor, a cascade of data streams, neural networks pulsing like veins. "See this?" Kane said, pointing to a simulated attack vector. "Victor's got Eclipse running simulations on your stock portfolio. But my baby, let's call it Shadow, we can mirror it, flip it back on him. Predict his leaks, counter with our own narratives." By Friday, Newman's shares tanked 15%. Billy leaned in, mesmerized despite himself. The code scrolled like poetry, elegant and lethal. "It's beautiful. Dangerous as hell, but beautiful." He straightened, rubbing his jaw. "All right, Kane. Condition 1, I'm in. Deploy Shadow under my authority. But Jill, that's not a switch I can flip." Kane's expression softened, just a touch. "Start small. A call. Tell her you're sorry for the blow-up. Not for her decisions, for the pain. She's tough, Billy, but even titans crack." Billy scoffed, but there was a crack in his armor, a glimpse of the vulnerable boy beneath the bravado. "Sorry. From me? She'd think aliens invaded. Or she'd see her son," Kane countered. "Look, I care about Jill. More than you know. She's been like a mother to me too, in ways. Seeing her torn up over this? It kills me. And you charging ahead blind? It'll get you both killed, figuratively, at least." Billy studied him, searching for the lie. Kane's eyes held steady, a rare authenticity shining through. "Fine," Billy muttered finally. "I'll call her. After we test this thing." Kane grinned, clapping him on the back. "That's the spirit. Now, let's run a dry sim on Newman Enterprises. Watch the empire crumble." As the algorithms whirred, Billy felt a surge of power, intoxicating and terrifying. For the first time in months, he wasn't the underdog, he was the hunter. But deep down, a whisper nagged, at what cost? At the Newman Ranch, Victor's strategy session unfolded like a war council in a Renaissance painting. He'd summoned Adam and Victoria to the study, the air heavy with leather-bound books and unspoken ambitions. Victoria Newman Locke, his daughter, entered first, 42, fierce in a power suit, her dark hair pulled into a no-nonsense ponytail. She was the apple that hadn't fallen far, her business acumen sharpened by years of proving herself in a man's world. "Father," she said, kissing his cheek. "You look like you're plotting world domination. Again." The implications of this child's existence ripple out far beyond the immediate emotional shockwaves between Kyle and Summer. It fundamentally alters the future of two of Genoa City's most powerful dynasties. For the Abbott family, this means a new heir, a new generation to carry on the legacy of John Abbott. For Jack, this is the grandchild he believed he would never have from Kyle, a chance to continue the Abbott name and values directly through his line. His reaction will be one of unadulterated joy, but also fierce protectiveness, likely directing any anger over the secrecy squarely at Summer and the Newman family. For Diane, it is the ultimate validation and a chance at a redemption she has long sought, a grandmother, a matriarch figure, her legacy secured in a way that is pure and untouched by her checkered past. She will see this child as a new beginning, not just for Kyle, but for herself. Conversely, in the Newman mansion, Victor Newman will process this news through his singular, pragmatic lens of power and control. A grandchild is a Newman, regardless of paternity. This child represents an extension of his empire, a new piece on the chessboard. His immediate concern will be establishing paternity legally and irrevocably, ensuring the child is recognized as a Newman Abbott and brought into the fold. He will be deeply suspicious of Summer's motives and timing, and his inherent distrust of all things Abbott will kick into high gear. He will see this as a potential Abbott ploy to claim a Newman heir, and his strategy will be to secure the child's allegiance to the Newman name. Nikki's reaction may be more nuanced, tempered by her own maternal experiences, but she will ultimately fall in line with Victor's protective, strategic approach. The child, innocent and unaware, becomes the newest pawn in a war that has raged for decades, her very existence intensifying the battle between the two families. Furthermore, this revelation cannot be viewed in a vacuum within the current narrative of the young and the restless. It directly and explosively intersects with Kyle's present life. His current marriage to Audra Charles, a relationship built on ambition, mutual understanding, and a certain degree of emotional practicality, is now facing an existential threat. Audra did not sign up for a ready-made family, especially one with the baggage of a Newman ex-wife. Her ambitions for power and status within Augustus will suddenly have to compete with the overwhelming demands of a paternal crisis. She is likely to see Summer's arrival not as a heartfelt revelation but as a calculated power play, a Newman maneuver to destabilize Kyle and reclaim him. Their marriage, which has always had a transactional undercurrent, will be tested in a way it was never designed to withstand. The conflict will force Kyle to choose between the family he has built and the family he never knew he had, a choice that pits his present against his past in the most brutal way imaginable. In the end, the spoiler is a promise of a deep and protracted exploration of these themes. The initial confrontation in Nice is merely the first act. The ensuing drama will involve the painful, meticulous process of establishing trust, if it can be established at all. Paternity tests, while a foregone conclusion for the audience, will be a necessary and painful formality for the characters, a symbol of the deep distress that now defines their relationship. Co-parenting negotiations will be a nightmare, conducted under the microscope of two feuding families, each trying to pull the child into their orbit. Legal battles over custody, name, and legacy are almost inevitable, with Victor's bottomless resources pitted against Jack's determined resolve. The child herself is the ultimate symbol of innocence amidst this chaos, a permanent, living connection between Kyle and Summer that can neither be ignored nor undone. She is both a blessing and a curse, a source of potential joy and endless conflict. She ensures that no matter where their lives take them, Kyle and Summer are now bound together forever, their destinies irrevocably intertwined by the daughter who arrived with the summer sun in Nice, rewriting the past and forever altering the future of Genoa City.